okay, so you're going to get LeBron, and then you're going to have Steph, who's the young guy of the group, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, LeBron, and blank.
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast, the authentic voice of sports leadership where coaching wisdom meets real talk. I'm your host, Dr. Keith Adams. On today's Wind Up Wednesday edition, we will talk about segment 1, NBA, offseason stories, and yes, a little LeBron talk, but it's legitimate LeBron talk. Segment 2, the backup plan conversation. We had a recent retirement that kind of touched me personally. And in segment 3, the WNBA march to the playoffs. Joining me today, Captain for Life, Will Cotton, and our favorite administrator to keep us really under control, Robert Abney. So let's get to it. LeBron James. Okay. LeBron is on the tail end of a career. This year may be the last year. Next year may be the last year. But will he finish with the Lakers? So it's no secret that he and Steph Curry liked playing with each other in the Olympics. And as long as LeBron's in the league and Golden State's got one or two shots left at getting a title, they're trying to get older, experienced players, not younger players. Robert, I'm going to start with you. There was a story this week that Golden State's really still sniffing out there for LeBron. Any thoughts on how LeBron's going to close this thing after 20 some odd years in the league?
You know, I would have thought that he would have wanted to finish in Cleveland because that's where he started. I would have thought that he would have wanted to go home again. That being said, I mean, I guess if he likes playing with Steph and the Warriors feel like they can get him, great. I mean, I don't know who the Warriors are going to trade for him. I don't know as they have what it would take to get LeBron. And I mean, okay, so you're going to get LeBron, and then you're going to have Steph, who's the young guy of the group, Jimmy Butler, Draymond, LeBron, and blank. Somebody else. They got to find a big guy somewhere. That doesn't feel like that doesn't feel like the magic combination there to me. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah. Cotton Man, it rarely ends well. No matter who it is, it rarely ends well. Joe Montana got shipped off to Kansas City. Okay. Even the best of the best, sometimes it doesn't end well. It's not always going to end like Peyton. How do you think it should end up for LeBron?
Keep playing, man. I mean, I think his legacy is cemented. There's nothing that's really outside of anything criminal. I think he is who he is. He's going like a little tour, playing with Steph. That would be a lot of eyes, it definitely would be a big news. Everybody would be talking about it. It would be a big thing. Like Robert said, I think they're going to have to either trade Draymond or Jimmy Butler because, to be honest with you, they all play the same position anyway. You have three small power forwards and a point guard and no center. It's not going to win. So I think it's just talk. I think they're gonna let the Lakers finish the season. They're gonna let LeBron finish his contract. I think they're not gonna trade for him. And then he's gonna make a decision moving forward in terms of, do I want to continue playing basketball or pick my where I want to play and make that decision. But I don't see them trading him. I don't see you don't see the one of the greatest players traded. That'd be a big taste in your mouth in terms of legacy, in terms of like the organization NBA. Like, Jordan never got traded, Magic never got traded, Bird never got traded. They were play until they could no longer play, and then respectively they went their ways. So I don't think they'll get traded.
Yeah, but I mean yes, and that was a different time, and
And a different CBA.
and we still saw people actually stay with a team for their entire careers. I mean, I mean, Steph is going to do it, but how many others? I mean, it's so rare. I mean, and Seinfeld a long time ago talked about, you're not cheering for a team anymore, you're cheering for laundry, right?
Right.
And I agree with your sentiment, but I don't think that stops them from that.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you look at it, it's more money for the Lakers. I mean, whether they trade him or not, you're going to get primetime games, you're going to get jersey sales, you're going to get, you're going to be represented in the All-Star game. Both two players, you're going to be out there. Oh, even if you're out the playoffs, you're going to be in the name, in the be big, whatever. But the thing is, I think it's hard to trade a guy like LeBron. It's like trading Kobe, or not saying that they're the same. That I'm talking about the level of player. You're not. First of all, you're not gonna get
Equal
anything
value.
back. Yeah, you're not gonna get anything back. I mean, you pretty much have to give the whole team to get him. But I think he stays. I think he stays. I think it's good talk. I think they do it all the time. Oh, he's trading. Oh, he go play with the Lakers. Da 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 da. It's just building it up for the season. But yeah, I don't see him leaving. He's too big of a piece, too big of a player. Never seen a player like that get traded mid-season. I mean, it would have to happen in the middle of the season by now. At this point, they're ready to get ready for training camp. So
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and
Go ahead.
looking at their roster, I mean, they got nothing.
yeah, nothing to
They
trade.
got nothing. Who are they going to trade? Who are you going to trade? Let's put together a package of Trace Jackson Davis and Buddy Hield and Brandon Pozemski and 17 draft picks, and they got
Well,
nothing.
the only thing for sure as we wrap this segment up is that you will see them on national television 34 times.
Dunleavy does not have a plan.
And we don't think they're going to win. So, all right, in segment 2, there was a recent retirement this past week that hit me a little closer to home when I have that conversation about the ball stopping and have my team help me through this. We'll be right back on the iCoaches podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA Save Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CKA Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches podcast. In segment 2, John Wall is retiring from the NBA after 11 seasons. And John Wall is 34 years old. And he played most of his career with the Washington Wizards. And every day, as I sit here looking at you, I'm looking at an autographed basketball of John Wall when he was the number 1 pick, because at that time I was a Washington Wizards season ticket holder. And I always said that is the ball of hope, because now we've got a number 1 pick and it just didn't work. And he got injured, and he was a fast, athletic point guard, but he never got a jump shot. And when he couldn't be fast anymore, it just didn't work out. So I'd like to get, Will, you're local. Love to get your thoughts on John Wall's career and anything you're thinking about in terms of John Wall as we talk about that during this segment.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So John Wall is probably the first iteration for me being an adult as a fan. This is where you actually go to you pay for your ticket, you go there, you get on your train or your cars, and you pay for your parking, and you pay money to see this guy. And I used to go with a lot of buddies. We had playoff games, man. We were going to all kinds of stuff, and then you leave, you go to the club, and guess who you see? John Wall. He was a man of he was a man of the people for
Was
real.
that love?
A Rose Bar,
Okay,
Rose Bar. He
okay.
was a man of the people. I wish he got more wins for us. I wish we could get through that hump. But yeah, the city loved him. The city loved him, man. We hated that we got rid of him, our business, things like that. We really liked him. We loved him, man. People love John Wall. That guy can get a free dinner anywhere in DC.
Yeah.
That's just the thing. I'm glad he can at least, get his pension of his 10-year service. Thank you, sir. And yeah, man, it was a fun time. It was a fun because also there's also players that just don't necessarily are superstars, but we always remember because who they are. Um, there's always guys like that. What's his name? Rod Strickland. John
Okay.
Starks, guys, Vernon Maxwell, guys who you like them, you love them. They were part of the organization. So I just
Okay.
wish them best, man. Congratulations. We'll see him on TV at some point. I saw they was got a contract for do some reporting things like that. Best of luck.
Um,
Had a blast watching him, man, and hope we can get back to those times and we can get some winnings. But it was fun when he was there.
all right. So, Robert, Derrick Rose, the Chicago Bulls will host a jersey retirement ceremony for Derrick Rose January 24th, 2026. Derrick Rose was a ball player, youngest MVP, and again, injuries got him. And at the end of the year, at the end of his career, just player to player, team to team. Any thoughts on the Chicago Bulls? Even though it was a small window, very similar to Gale Sayers, they're going to retire his jersey. Any thoughts on that before we expand the discussion?
Um, I have to be honest. I didn't see Derrick Rose. I didn't see a lot of Derrick Rose, and I didn't see a lot of John Wall, to be honest. Um, because for the vast majority of Derrick Rose's time in Chicago, the Bulls were not great, and therefore they weren't on TV a lot, right? So unless you had the NBA package, all you were getting was Sports Center. If you're just a casual fan. I think both of these guys, I mean, it's a really kind of a classic tale of what could have been. I mean, both of these guys were very talented athletes, crazy athletic. And a bunch of I mean, every year the draft, that's what it is. You get these young, crazy athletic kids coming out, and you hope, your team makes a good choice, that you've got somebody who's a good athlete, and then that they can develop and not get injured.
Yeah.
And that didn't really, I mean, both of these guys showed flashes. Both of them had great seasons. Both of them, made all NBA teams. Derrick Rose did win the MVP, in 2011, but, just not, just never, it never really fully, they never really fully flourished.
Yeah.
They never were as good as they could have been, and we'll never know, right?
Yeah.
You
And
can't
that
do that
takes me
far.
to the backup plan conversation. I had the pleasure of being in the audience of the late great John Thompson, Hall of Fame coach at Georgetown, and he had a famous quote. And that quote, I talked to my players a lot about it. Don't let the sum total of your existence be 8 to 10 pounds of air. And when we did Finding the Balance episodes, and we'll be doing more in the future, our good friend Jake Schaller spoke about a portion of the book that kind of got him, and it made me think about my conversation with Jake on the air, where he said, Keith, in your book, you talked about the last time you played basketball, and it was very similar to me. The last time I played was a workout for Bowie State. I probably would have made the team, but what am I doing? Um, so I transitioned to coaching, from playing to coaching, because I had people around me say, I think this would be a good transition for you. And then when I transitioned out of coaching, I had people around me to say, you can do some other things. And that's kind of when I had the conversation I want to have with you. And joining us, our international correspondent, FD Francois. Francois, I'll actually start with you in this. You were a point guard. You played. Um, any thoughts on your transition? How did that work out for you to transition from being a player to now the coaching career that you're establishing and developing and doing a great job with?
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you asked this question, coach, because I start coaching. I'm a young coach. I start coaching in 5 years ago, and I was 5 years ago. I was still trying to play, and I was playing in a team in France, playing in third division called Poissy. And I go there, and the coach said, "Okay, you want to play in the team? We cannot pay you a lot of money. So why you don't coach a young team so you can earn more money?" I said, "Oh, I never thought about coaching." I said, "Okay, why not?" And I started coaching on the 13, and I love the journey. It was crazy because the young kid was loving the game, playing for different perspectives. So this is what I do. I think everybody has a different journey about transition and what I think is that the best thing you can do is to be open to do what you have to do at the moment you have to do that, and to be flexible to say, okay, now I'm coaching, maybe tomorrow I will be a referee, I don't know, but I have to be open mind to just be ready for what the life gives to me.
Okay. Will, as somebody who played for me, we often talked about life after high school, life after college. Any thoughts on the backup plan conversation? Because both John Wall and Derrick Rose made it to the league, but there are a lot of players who don't make it out of high school. Any thoughts on the backup plan conversation?
Um, it takes a lot of realization, a lot of self understanding. Again, I was never an elite athlete. I was never, I would say a top five guy, never one of those guys. So it was a lot easier for me to transition to life when I was done playing basketball, saying, okay, well, I could just be a regular kind of guy, just doing my thing. But I can understand, if you're the guy and you've been getting the limelight and all you know how to do is play basketball, 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 and then all of a sudden, you're 35 and then they're telling you like you're done, that's it, that can be jarring. That can be jarring. I know even from myself, growing from 30 to 40 just allowed me to mature, just become a better person, and sometimes they're robbed by that because of their profession, because all they're told is do is basketball, 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 basketball. You don't really get to evolve. You don't get to evolve with your friends. You don't get to evolve as we're all becoming fathers at the same time, or we're going through the same struggles together. And when you can't pay bills, and when things are going great, things like that, or when your kids get in trouble and you have to really be focused on it. It can be difficult. It can be very, very, hard for guys to say, now I have to remove myself as the only focal point to then focus on all the other things that I have, with my family, my kids, my retirement. Now I have to manage my own money. I have to, these are things that I have to do. And I wish, and I know it's not up to them, but I wish there was like a retirement transition program in sports where you say, hey, if you're a guy in your professional sport, doesn't matter what league you're in, you're around 30 years old. Let's start talking about moving, transitioning. They have guys in the NBA where it's like, hey, if you're 17, 18, 19, there's transition teams. You should do the same thing when guys are transitioning out because a lot of it is mentality. It's like, just maybe you want to talk to somebody like a therapist or something like that, or social worker or something like that. There should be some sort of plan because a lot of these guys, like all of that's all they know. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're done. See ya. We paid you a ton of money. Figure it out. And a lot of them don't even know how to buy cell phones. They don't know how to, manage a household, things like that, buying groceries, somebody, yeah, but I think that's one of the biggest things is the realization that it's coming to the end and you have to prepare yourself for that. And I think the NBA could help a little bit by having a transitioning team to help guys guide from moving in, moving on, and transitioning out to the NBA or whatever sport, and make it a lot easier because it's got to be a tough transition to make. The better you're at, or even if you're in the middle, if you're a guy who's just like I'm a regular guy who played 14 years, that's going to be a little different. So it's definitely a difficult conversation to have, but it's a real conversation when it hits you. Trust me. I'm getting there now where it's like, I can't even, when I dream, I can't even dream being in the NBA anymore. I'm too old. I have to dream like, man, I'm retiring. I'm dreaming of like retirement. Dreaming. I can't even breathe like I'm dunking anymore. Like, I'm like, man, you 40, get out of here. Who's going to trade me?
So Robert, we've had these conversations with student athletes our entire career. Any thoughts you have on the backup plan conversation?
No, I think a lot of the ideas that Will talked about are interesting and um I think we all have heard stories of guys who have done really well, who have transitioned, as they retired, they've made some wise investments, they become businessmen, that kind of stuff. We all hear those stories, and we all also hear about, guys who basically lost all their money on, they had a huge entourage and they're like, oh, I got to take care of my family, and they had people grifting off them and stealing their money. We've heard all that, and I think that the transition plan, the idea of that is, I think that's a great idea. The league's never going to do that, but I guarantee you there are some people out there who are doing that as we speak that we just don't know about.
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, our perspective, because you're recently retired and went back to work, and I retired and went back to work, is that, I mean, it's as you move on in your life, we all kind of reinvent ourselves as we get older, and we all do different things. And I think a lot of our success in life in general is how well you manage those transitions and how well you figure that stuff out. Because, as we have said more than one time on this show, Father Time is undefeated. And, there's always, I'm seeing this now in my officiating. It's getting harder to stay in shape. It's getting harder to run up and down the field and run up and down the floor. And there's all these young bucks out there who show up, and they're, 28 years old, and they're fit and they look good in their uniforms,
No
and
stretching, right? Just right on the court.
yeah, they just get out there and they just start running, and and that's not me anymore. And I know that. So I have two choices. I can either, I'm battling to hang on. I still want to be out there, but at the same time, I'm having to think about, okay, what does this look like as I'm starting to come to the end? What is this going to look like? So,
Yeah.
we're constantly reinventing ourselves.
And I loved you said reinvent, and this is where we shamelessly put the plug in. The CK Safe Project offers academic and athletic consulting and transition help, because no matter if you're the high school player, you've been playing whatever your sport, 6, 7 years, and now you can only play for fun. Or if you're the college, student athlete who did you even get your degree or did you exhaust eligibility? Or if you're the professional, that reinvention, how can you stay in the sport if that's what you want to do? Or do you want to just do something else, which all is okay? So I appreciate the conversation, gentlemen. And when we get back in segment 3, we're getting closer to the WNBA playoffs. Let's talk about it. We'll be right back on the Odd Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Keith Adams, and for years, I've witnessed the struggles student athletes face on how to truly balance the demands of academics and athletics. It's a question that I have dedicated my life to answering. That's why I wrote Finding the Balance, my personal journey to academic and athletic success. It's more than just a book. It is my personal journey, and it is filled with hard-earned lessons from decades as a coach, educator, and now president of the CKA Safe Project. Inside, you will find practical advice, real-life stories, and a clear roadmap to help student athletes, coaches, and parents navigate the complex world of balancing sports and education. And now I am thrilled to bring this message to a wider audience as a proud member of the Cascade Sports Network. We're partnering to amplify these crucial conversations about student athlete success. I believe every student athlete deserves the opportunity to reach their full potential, both on and off the court and the field. You can purchase your copy directly from our website at www.ckasafeproject.org. Join me and the Cascade Sports Network as we work together to help every student athlete succeed. Welcome back to the Odd Coaches Podcast in segment 3. The WNBA regular season ends September 11th and playoffs begin September 14th. We've got top teams now. Minnesota is in there, but we've got some injury issues. Atlanta's playing well. Vegas is on fire. I think they've won 10 straight at the time of this taping. Phoenix, New York, Indiana, hold on, do whatever you can, get people off the scrap pile. I think they're still signing people to 7-day contracts. Seattle and Golden State are the top 8 on the outside looking in. The LA Sparks and the Washington Mystics seem to be a long shot. The Chicago Sky are eliminated, so we won't hear from Angel Reese in the postseason on the court, maybe in interviews off the court. Dallas Wings, Paige Beckers has lost more games this year than she probably has her entire career. And the Connecticut Sun, they don't even have owners yet. I don't know what they're doing with that. So with 2 weeks left in the regular season, I wanted our panel to kind of help our audience find some players to keep an eye on. So down the stretch, and I'm going to start with Robert, which player or players should our audience keep an eye on?
Well, I mean, we've talked a lot about Vegas with Asia Wilson, and they just have not played well most of the year. They just have not been very good. And all of a sudden, they have figured it out. And Jewel Lloyd, they got her from Seattle when they traded Kelsey Plum away. And I think losing Kelsey Plum, that was a
underrated, undervalued,
huge adjustment for them. But Jewel Lloyd has started to figure it out, and she's playing really well. She's shooting 45% from 3, so that's going to create more space for Asia Wilson on the block. Vegas is hot right now, and that you've got somebody shooting well from 3, and you've got a consistent threat on the block. That's a good recipe going into the playoffs.
All right. Will, is there anybody in particular, player or players, that you think our audience should keep an eye on as we get ready for the postseason?
Oh, I think, Alyssa Thomas, I think she's definitely, you got to focus on her. She's playing very, very well all season. I have a friend who's actually following her, and she's always posting us. So I'm very aware that she is killing the league right now. And very interesting, it's slowly, people are saying it's no longer Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark anymore. It's Paige Buckets versus Caitlin Clark. And it's so funny. Oh, it is. It is. Oh, it is.
No, I know.
I mean, that's what it should have been, because if she never got hurt, she would have probably entered the same draft that CC entered last year, and they would have been together. So it's just interesting. I, I also want to understand, when will Chicago kind of give up on that whole roster? You can't do this year after year when you're trying to reinvent the team. And first year, okay, you're a rookie, you didn't make it to the playoffs. So I get it. Now everyone
And you changed the coach. Don't forget
change the
that.
coach, people are getting healthy, and then you don't make the playoffs again. And not on that, the entire season she's been a joke. Not saying that she can't play, but she's been the joke. I mean, constantly. It's just, But if you're looking for buckets, is where you're going. If you're going to the playoffs, focus on Alyssa Thomas. She's amazing.
All right, Coach FD. Anybody, our audience, to keep an eye on as we get ready for the WNBA postseason?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with William. Paige Becker, she's awesome. She's playing great basketball. She can score everywhere, in the pen, outside of the pen, the 3-point lane. She has a bag, how we say that. And I think she will be in this playoff again better. And she's a very, I saw her play last year, a few years ago with UConn. And I was, okay, she's a good player, but she's in a good program. Now I think it's not just the program. She can play in every system and being a very, 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 very good player for the team. So I think she will be a very, we need to have our eye focus on her.
All right.
Hey,
And in
one
Seattle,
thing,
go ahead.
I want to follow up on something, because we talk about Angel Reese, and we don't always talk. We do not always speak kindly of her, right? But let's give credit where credit is due. I mean, she's been hurt some, but when she has played, I mean, she's a double machine. Now, granted, at least 2 or 3 of those rebounds a game are of her own misses or more, right?
Right.
But I mean, her shooting percentage this year has gone up. She's scoring more. She's assistant. She's, dropping more dimes. She's got more steals. She's got more blocks. She has progressed as a player. The problem is, obviously, is that we've already gotten conditioned to this whole Angel Reese thing, and she does not help herself. She does not help herself. And I'm actually glad to hear that people are kind of getting off the whole Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark thing, because that was never really, I mean, clearly they don't like each other, but that was never really a thing, because you're talking about 2 different types of players playing 2 different positions. They're not going to guard each other. They're not going to go head to head. There isn't going to be any of that. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there.
I'm glad you did. FD, before we wrap up, Seattle has a player you're familiar with. How has Dominique done this season?
So yes, she's doing a great season, and she's trying to adapt to a new system, because when you come to the WNBA and you have NCAA experience, it's different when you come right from Europe. And she's playing in a different system, but she's adapting very quickly. And what I love of her season, she's more valuable on her shooting. So she's starting adding some shooting out of the pen, some shooting from 3, and I think she's doing a great season, and she's gonna go far away again for the next of the season.
All right. So on behalf of our cavalcade of stars, I'm Dr. Keith Adams, saying thank you for listening and/or watching the Odd Coaches podcast, the authentic voice of sports leadership, where coaching wisdom meets real talk. We're also seen on the Cascade Sports Network, and we will see you on the sidelines. So until next time, take care.
The Odd Coaches podcast is sponsored by the CKA Save Project. The CKA Save Project is an industry leader in providing student-athlete academic and athletic support. From assessing student athletes' academic and athletic skills, to measuring and monitoring student athlete academic progress, to improving student athlete time management and organizational skills, the CKA SAVE project provides wraparound services for student athletes from middle school through college. For more information, visit us on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org or schedule a free consultation with Dr. Keith Adams by emailing cka@ckasaveproject.org. We hope you enjoyed today's show. The Odd Coaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday through Friday on most weeks. Make sure you subscribe to the Odd Coaches podcast on Apple Music, iHeartRadio, Podbean, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow the Odd Coaches podcast on Twitter and Instagram at Odd Coaches. Follow Dr. Adams on Twitter and Instagram at CKA Save Project. In addition, follow Coach Mike Francis on Twitter and Instagram at Coach Franchise, spelled Coach Franchize. For more information about the CKA Save Project, please visit them on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.